on, Boston Celtics fans? We do have a quick update here after Game 1, heading into Game 2 tomorrow against the Orlando Magic. And unfortunately, it's not good news. The previous report on Jayson Tatum's wrist did come from Joe Mazzulla right after the game saying he's good. And then he got x-rays after the game, and they ended up being negative. Well, more and more information is coming out, and the latest details do show that Jayson Tatum is dealing with a right distal radius bone bruise. Not even 100% sure what that exactly is, but I do know that Jaylen Brown has been dealing with a bone bruise in his right knee, and obviously that caused him to miss a few games. So Tatum went from available to questionable to day-to-day to doubtful for Game 2. If Jayson Tatum does not play on Wednesday evening in Game 2 against the Orlando Magic, this will be the first ever playoff game that he has missed in his entire career. I mean, doesn't that just sound lucky to us? Tatum is healthy for primarily the entire year, and then on Game 1, KCP gets charged for a flagrant foul for kind of crossing Jayson Tatum as he's dunking. He smacks his hand against the backboard, and now we do not know the certainty of his future in the playoffs. But the good news is that primarily the timeline for an injury recovery like this is about 2 to 3 days. It really just needs rest. So if he doesn't play in Game 2, just going to have to really utilize Jaylen Brown if he's healthy, 100%. Derek White, who had 30 points. Payton Pritchard, 19 points off the bench. Going to be looking for a bigger game from Kristaps Porzingis, only had 5 points in the first game. And Al Horford, I didn't think Horford had the most impactful game either. But I'm also going to be leaning on TD Garden. Right now, the number one enemy in Boston has to be KCP. Not that what KCP did was bad or it was a basketball play. It just happened to be a little bit more aggressive maybe than it typically would have just been a common foul. KCP did nothing wrong. This was completely basketball. But I know that tomorrow night, everybody's the enemy that's wearing the Orlando Magic jerseys, and I know TD Garden is going to be hot that they took away the best player on the court, which of course is Jayson Tatum. So going ahead, give me your one-word reaction to the Jayson Tatum injury news that has recently emerged ahead of Game 2. Really, really sucks, but Boston has already played the Orlando Magic without Jayson Tatum once earlier this year in December. Now, we did lose 108 to 104, but it was one of the strangest regular season games I have seen Boston play. Also, that was during the time when they were kind of taking that December dip and they were hitting this lull. You saw Derek White reveal that he lost his joy for basketball. Kristaps Porzingis had just started to recover and return to the NBA court from his injury. So this is a much different team than we had in December. So I know that it may be scary going up against the Orlando Magic tomorrow night without Jayson Tatum, but I have the full faith in Jaylen Brown, Jrue Holiday, and the rest of the guys to get the job done. Not to mention, Boston has played less than 25 games this season with their starting five of Tatum, Brown, Porzingis, Holiday, and White. So they have adapted to playing without some of their stars. So I have no doubt that even if Pritchard doesn't have 19 points off the bench, we will still be able to find a way to score against Orlando. And really, the number one thing that I took away from Game 1 was there is clearly only two factors that could apply if the Orlando Magic do win, and that is Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. They clearly are the only weapons that Orlando has. They do not have the bench depth to compete with the Boston Celtics roster. They would if they had Jalen Suggs and Maurice Wagner, but unfortunately they're both out for this series. So when you look at Game 1, Paolo had 26 points. Paolo had 36 points. Franz Wagner had 23 points. The next leading scorer for the Orlando Magic was Jonathan Isaac with 7. That is what I mean by even if Tatum is not playing, this is not a game where you just wave the white flag. You're like, you know what? Just go get some reps out there. We can still beat them in 5. Boston's obviously looking to sweep the Orlando Magic. And Joe Mazzulla, Jaylen Brown, they're not blinking an eye if a star cannot play. And then when you look at Boston's depth that they have going up against the Orlando Magic from Game 1, Derek White, obviously, I think Derek White is becoming one of my favorite postseason players. I think he is just as electric as a Steph Curry is when he starts to get hot. Not comparing the two, but you know that Curry definitely has a postseason presence. I really see that with a guy like Derek White. I think he's so much fun to watch. I mean, he just makes unreal shots as well. So Derek White had the team high 30 points in Game 1. Payton Pritchard off the bench had 19 points, which was phenomenal. He was very, very hot. I would love to see that consistently, but going up against a very tough three-point defensive team, I'm sure they're going to try to adjust to make sure they can handle Payton Pritchard for game 2. Jayson Tatum was 17 points, and he did not have 10 points at halftime. He had 6. He didn't even reach double digits until the end of the third quarter. So take that 17 points with a grain of salt. And he got hurt with 8 minutes left to go in the fourth. So that did not have anything to do with his performance. Jaylen Brown had 16 points and Jrue Holiday had 9. So the moral of this story is, if the Boston Celtics can contain Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner, it's a sweep in 4. They are the only 2 players that can make a difference for the Orlando Magic. Of course, yes, they do still have players like Cole Anthony and Anthony Black and Wendell Carter Jr. that can get hot, and they can definitely change the course of a game. But to have a Cole Anthony and Paolo and Franz Wagner shoot lights out for all 4 quarters, I see that being very unrealistic, especially because the Boston Celtics have such great depth. That is Beans. She likes to make appearances on my at-home visits. So that is what I'm going to be looking for heading into game 2. So let me go on ahead and tell you guys just really, really quick about our sponsor on today's show, and that is going to be PrizePicks. The spring is finally here, and if you guys want to win some cash while watching some sports, then PrizePicks is the app for you. It is a great daily fantasy sports app that does allow you to win some money while you're watching your favorite basketball players, baseball players, hockey, golf, doesn't matter. PrizePicks has several different categories for you guys to choose from and to win some cash as well. All you guys have to do is just pick more or less on a player's projected stats, and you guys can win up to 2,000 times your cash. That's right, up to 2,000 times your cash. If you guys want to go on ahead and get started, just download the PrizePicks app. Use promo code CLNS. That'll give you guys $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Download the PrizePicks app. Use promo code CLNS. That'll give you guys $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. Run your game. If Jayson Tatum does not play tomorrow, if he is not active nor available, I would probably assume they're going to go to a bigger lineup. I think they are going to do Jrue Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis in their starting 5. If Horford doesn't start, then they'll probably just stick Sam Hauser at that 3 spot and move Jaylen Brown down to the 4. So I think they should run with Al Horford. He did not have a fantastic game to start off the series. I think he's going to be looking for a vengeance, and how Horford's in that same boat as Derek White. Horford can definitely flip the switch at any given moment. And Horford just, he's a father of 5. He's got that type of protecting that he has against his teammates. So if Jayson Tatum's hurt and the Orlando Magic hurt him, Horford's going to have a chip on his shoulder, and he is going to want to win the basketball game to try and protect his players, and I do think that is the same for all the Boston Celtics guys. So, going to be very interesting to see, the playoffs without Jayson Tatum, but I do have full faith that Boston is going to be able to get it done with or without Jayson Tatum, and we do hope that that rest is all he needs in just one game. We hope he is back for game 3, which will be on Friday. I will be live for game 2. I will be live for game 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Doesn't matter. If you guys want to go on ahead and if you want to go on ahead and subscribe to Celtics Today by Chad Sports, that would help me out, and you guys can always be informed.